What would a WWE live event be without a large crowd? Well, just ask anyone who was at these shows, as they were all attended by fewer than 6,500 people. By the way, don't expect to see any NXT shows or other network specials on this list. We are only counting proper main roster WWE pay-per-views. Oh, and also we're not counting the 2 Beware of Dog shows, because those were affected by a power outage and we felt like it was unfair to include them. Also, there were 2 different shows and it got too convoluted, so we chickened out. And we're obviously not including anything from the pandemic. Don't be a smartass. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 worst attended WWE pay-per-views of all time. Join us. Number 10, In Your House 2, The Lumberjacks, 6,482. As you will find out throughout this list, the In Your House series weren't always the best when it came to drawing crowds. Initially designed as cut-price stopgaps between the big 4/5 shows, the first In Your House premiered on May 14th, 1995, with just 7,000 people in attendance. By the time the second show came around in July, about 500 of those people are gone. Nah, can't be arsed. In Your House 2, retroactively titled The Lumberjacks, drew just 6,482 people to Nashville, Tennessee's Municipal Auditorium. In comparison, WCW held Starrcade there later that same year in front of 8,200 fans. It's not like WWE were offering a Starrcade-level experience with their show, to be fair. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Henry Godwin, the 1-2-3 Kid versus The Roadie, Razor Ramon and Savio Vega versus Men on a Mission. I mean, yeah, you can see why they struggled. 1995 is known as a very bad year for WWE in terms of business, and this show can act as a microcosm of that larger issue. Fans just weren't that interested in what the company had to offer, so they kept their hands firmly in their pockets. Number 9, Taboo Tuesday 2005, 6,000. The concept of Taboo Tuesday was an interesting one. Fans had the power to vote on the outcomes of certain decisions, such as which wrestlers would be in a match, what stipulations they would fight under, and what titles would be on the line. Unfortunately, considering you needed a small nuclear power station to even run the internet in 2005, the idea was perhaps a little too advanced for the time. This edition of the show was broadcast from San Diego, California's iPay-1 Center, known today as the Pechanga Arena. This was the arena that saw the unification of the WWF and WCW championships at Vengeance Day 2001, only that show drew a much more significant crowd. Only 6,000 souls turned up to Taboo Tuesday, roughly half of the figure for Vengeance just 4 years earlier. Instead of a title unification tournament, these fans got to see Mankind take on Carlito, Eugene team up with Jimmy Snuka, and Batista fight Jonathan Coachman in a street fight. Who needs history being made when you got all that? To be fair, Mankind vs. Carlito was pretty alright. Perhaps due to the low ticket sales, Taboo Tuesday was replaced with Cyber Sunday the following year. That sold better, presumably because it was on a day of the week people were actually free. Number 8, Stomping Grounds 2019, 6,000. The most recent show on this list by quite some margin is the first and thus far only show to bear the Stomping Grounds name. Look at its logo, it's a little shoe. How clever. Replacing Backlash in the calendar, Stomping Grounds just sort of came out of nowhere. It had no stipulation attached to it, no real reason to be named what it was named, it was just kinda there. Weird. Fans who showed up to the Tacoma Dome in Washington got to see Ricochet beat Samoa Joe for the US title, Kofi Kingston defend his WWE Championship against Dolph Ziggler, and Seth Rollins fight in a no-holds-barred war with Baron Corbin. Only 6,000 folks showed up to see their favorite superstars kick ass and take names. Their last US pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, had drawn over 15,000 fans. Probably because Corbin wasn't in the world title match, to be fair. The only other show that came close to this figure in 2019 was Clash of Champions, with everything else doing 10k fans or more. Rest in peace, Stomping Grounds. You were too beautiful for this world. Number 7, In Your House 12, It's Time, 5,708. Despite the fact that it bore his catchphrase in the title, In Your House 12, It's Time did not feature Vader at all, as he was dealing with an injury. Shame they'd already printed out all the programs. WWE had to work around the big man's absence for their final major show of 1996, instead offering fans a main event of Bret Hart challenging for the WWE Championship against Sid. You might not think that sounds especially epic, and you would be right, but things get worse for this show when you look elsewhere on the card. It was opened by Flash Funk versus Leif Cassidy. Remember him? He was Al Snow before he went a bit crazy and became a bit interesting. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog defended their tag straps against fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon, blur, and The Undertaker fought the Executioner, i.e. Terry Gordy, in a mask in one of the worst pay-per-view bouts of the year. It's hardly surprising that a show this disappointing only drew 5,708 people to the West Palm Beach Auditorium. They probably all hated it, but at least there was less traffic than usual to beat on the way home, eh? Number 6, In Your House 6, Rage in a Cage, 5,500. Another poorly attended In Your House show, another Bret Hart match in the main event. Are we sure this guy is really the best there is, was and ever will be? This time, Hart was the defending champion, putting his belt on the line against Diesel just a handful of weeks before his epic Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. It was also a cage match, if you hadn't already figured that out. Hart won because there was no way Kevin Nash was going an hour, setting up his WrestleMania bout with Shawn Michaels. HBK had won the right to face Bret earlier in the night by beating the Hitman's brother, Owen. As for the other matches, well, Razor Ramon beat the 1-2-3 Kid in the opening Crybaby match. That is a match where the loser has to wear a diaper because there is no humor quite like a 5-year-old's humor. Hunter Hearst Helmsley took on Duke the Dumpster Drosy in a battle of class and sophistication over literal garbage. And Yokozuna beat the British Bulldog by DQ. Only 5,500 people were subjected to this total fart of a pay-per-view, and we are so sorry for all of them. Number 5, In Your House 3 Triple Header, 5,146. Our triple header of In Your House shows ends with In Your House Triple Header. It's almost like we planned it this way. We didn't, honest. Back to 1995 and to the third outing for this brave new format. A format that was getting consistently worse results with every new attempt. September's In Your House 3 boasted a pretty spectacular main event in an attempt to turn the sinking ship around. Diesel, the WWE Champion, and Shawn Michaels, the Intercontinental Champion, teamed up to take on tag team champions Yokozuna and Owen Hart. Except the British Bulldog filled in for Hart, even though Hart still got involved in the finish of the match. It's hard to explain. Just watch the show, or better yet, don't. Sadly, this meant that the rest of the card was severely lacking in star power. When Wail on Mercy is your choice to open a show, then you need to take a long, hard look at yourself. Just 5,146 people forked out to come and watch this show, which is probably 5,146 people too many. Number 4, Armageddon 2004, 5,000. Jesus could have fed the audience at Armageddon 2004 with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Armageddon closed out WWE's pay-per-view year from Duluth, Georgia. WWE, if you want people to come to your shows, then please start holding them in places people have actually heard of. No offense, Duluthians. Anyway, Duluth was treated to a whopper of a main event as JBL defended the WWE Championship against Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, and The Undertaker in a fatal 4-way. Unfortunately, this was the only real highlight on a show that also featured Tough Enough finalists Daniel Puder and Mike the Miz Mizanin in a Dixie dogfight, and Kurt Angle winning a match over Santa Claus. Yep, Santa Claus. Even the prospect of seeing old Saint Nick didn't draw people to this show, which only packed in 5,000 fans. WWE wouldn't return to the venue for a big show until 2019, when they put on Starrcade. Remember when WWE took one of the most cherished names in WCW history and ran it as a dinky little house show? Duluth is cursed, I swear. Number 3, Ground Zero In Your House, 4,963. For our final trip to In Your House land, we take you back to the year 1997, when business was significantly better than it was 2 years ago. Ground Zero in your house, which was the 17th incarnation in case anybody cares, was home to a bumper main event that pitted two megastars against one another for the very first time. Shawn Michaels had been in The Undertaker's crosshairs ever since he had cost the dead man the WWE title at SummerSlam. Now the two would finally tangle in the ring, kicking off one of the greatest in-ring rivalries of all time with a no contest. The match ended with a no contest. Good stuff. Bret Hart was once again WWE Champion, seriously, maybe he's the cursed one, and was defending against none other than Del Wilkes, aka The Patriots. This was Patriots' first and only pay-per-view title match, and Hart beat him with the sharpshooter after 20 minutes. Not even the power of America could attract more than 4,963 people from the good city of Louisville, Kentucky. Number 2, December to Dismember 2006, 4,800. I know we said right at the start that we were only counting WWE pay-per-views, but did you really think I was going to miss out on slagging off this steaming pile of bull piss? Also, WWE's version of ECW was essentially just SmackDown Light, so you can forgive me on the technicalities. After it relaunched in 2006, the resurrected ECW was given its first pay-per-view later in the year. And how did it go? Well, they never ran another major show again. You tell me how it went. December to Dismember was a disaster and is rightly remembered as one of the worst wrestling shows of all time. Balls Mahoney took on Matt Striker. Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly teamed up to take on the Stinking Vampires. Daivari beat Tommy Dreamer. ECW died a death all over again on this night in front of 4,800 witnesses in Augusta, Georgia's James Brown Arena. Honestly, it's amazing that the crowd was even that big, as there was absolutely zero reason for anybody to have wanted to see this show. The only thing that kept it off the top spot was a real oddity of a show from 2 years earlier. Number 1, Taboo Tuesday 2004, 3,500. That's right, both of the Taboo Tuesdays rank among the worst-selling WWE pay-per-views of all time. The first one had the same premise as the second. The audience would be able to interact with the show and cast their votes to shape what they saw. There was a vote to determine who would face Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental Championship, in which Jonathan Coachman legitimately came third. There was one to choose what weapon would be legal in a match between Kane and Snitsky. Steel Chain was the winner, so naturally Snitsky won by crushing Kane's throat with a steel chair. And then there was Eugene versus Eric Bischoff, a match where the loser's fate would be decided by the audience. In a cruel twist of fate, the horrible fans voted to have Bischoff's silky silver locks shaved off. You monsters. The novelty of this event simply wasn't enough to draw numbers, as a pitiful 3,500 people showed up to watch it all unfold. To this day, it is the worst attended proper WWE pay-per-view of all time. Maybe that's because, I don't know, people are busy on Tuesday nights? Just a thought.